What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Early Wedge. My name is Nejad. I'm joined by Rick Gehman. Rick Gehman, we are almost through 2 rounds of the U.S. Open. A lot to talk about, a lot of surprises. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Yes, this is closing in on 36 being done, and a lot has happened. There have been long days because of the rounds, but like, so it feels like there's been golf on for 18 hours a day, but a lot has happened.
A lot has happened. I mean, I see there's still people on the course that have like a solid 4 holes to go. So we don't have a daylight problem, do we, Rick? You think maybe?
They just showed us. They just showed a shot where you could tell the how much the glow of the leaderboards around there is helping. So I think these guys are going to finish no matter what, because the guys out on the golf course are generally out of it. So they will find a way to finish this, or at least it won't impact anything of real solid stuff.
Well, speaking of the glow of the leaderboard, I'm glowing because I had Burns as a second round leader, but I also have him as an outright, Rick, and I'm not altogether surprised. I want to get your reaction. Well, I'm kind of surprised by his round, by the way. I'm just not surprised that he's at the top of the leaderboard. We had JJ Spawn tumble a little bit, but he was really solid across the board. Your guy, Viktor Hovland, sitting there alone in third place. Adam Scott behind him, then Ben Griffin. A lot of guys here that are playing well in 2025. Viktor Hovland, you could make an argument it's been extremely inconsistent, but we've seen him win. Adam Scott, Siwoo Kim is lingering there at T6. What are your thoughts on this leaderboard?
Yeah, so first, just hat tip to JJ Spawn. I thought what he did, having to sit on 4 under for as long as he did, come out and put together a round of 72 that's going to be 3.5 shots better, or 2.5 shots better than the field average. Like, good on you, JJ Spawn. I doubt that he wins the US Open, but that was very, very impressive. And I love the way that he bounced back after a lot of the bogeys that he made. The Sam Burns stuff was awesome. I mean, to shoot a 5 under 65 in those conditions, it only got better as the day went on, especially after the way that he finished yesterday. So he finished his first round playing him at his last 4 holes at 5 over, and that could have just been the end of his championship, and he just turned it right around. So very impressed with that. And then, yeah, I mean, listen, here's the story. There's 3 guys under par, two at even par, and we're seeing massive swings in scores, or massive ranges of scores, every single day. This thing is chaotic right now.
So what's interesting is we always play like, what's the real lead game? Like Sam Burns, like the real lead is -3, right? But I guess the question I want to ask you is, how far down do we go? Because I mentioned some of the guys that are in the top 10, essentially. By the way, it didn't even occur to me that Russell Henley is now snuck inside the top 10, tied there with Brooks Koepka and Thomas Dietrich, who the finish to his round didn't go super well. But when you get, Rick, to the +3s and the +4s, that's where, to the extent the superstars are still around, some of them are, that's where you start to see the names of Colin Morikawa, Scotty Scheffler. We go down the board here and we see Jordan Spieth at +5. We know Rory McIlroy is going to make the cut. Which of these superstars do you think can kind of, I don't want to say turn it around because they haven't had bad tournaments, but like, who do you think is going to sneak up there? And by the end of day 3, okay, now they're only like 3 or 4 or 5 shots back, or 3 or 4 shots back.
Yeah, the 4s are definitely live. That's a ton of firepower of Jon Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, Cam Young, Colin Morikawa, Daniel Berger. Like, the 4s are 100% live. The 5s are, I think, pretty live. You've got Sungjae there. You've got Jordan Spieth there. Like, even par's going to be a really good chance to win this golf tournament. So if you're talking about Scotty Scheffler shooting 68, I don't think that's out of the question. And that, I mean, he when he finished his round this morning, I think he was in like 36th or 37th, and it just got better and better and better. That 71 aged so much better throughout the day. And he's been pretty awful through 36 holes. So he's interesting. The Jon Rahm stat profile is probably the best stat profile that you'll find. He is destroying the golf ball basically from tee to green, and he's really struggling with the putter. There was a lot of frustration out in his presser afterwards, but he has been hitting the ball well enough. I mean, I would almost take, like, if you gave me all the 4s at I don't know what the odds would have to be, but like, I like the winner coming from the fours. Like, I think there's a really good chance of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm just, there's so much star power in that area. And you're right. It's not going to take these huge rounds. A lot of these guys that are at the top of the leaderboard are certainly going to backtrack. Talk to me about the course, though, because when you bring up Jon Rahm, I thought he played pretty well today, in spite of his score. And again, we're talking about this. What did this end up being? What, 5 over par, Rick, for round 2?
Yeah, 4.7. Yeah.
So, some of these scores you see plus numbers, you're like, oh, it was about a round. No, like these were fine rounds. But I guess my question for you is, how do you think Oakmont is playing in terms of, do you think it's a fair test? Because I did think there were some shots that Jon Rahm hit that were actually good shots. I'm just using him as an example that maybe should have been rewarded a little bit better. I'm curious what you think about that, but also what you think we're going to see Saturday and Sunday in terms of the test maybe being tougher.
I don't think it's entirely fair. I think it is definitely a test of execution for like the tee to green players, and they will eventually get themselves to the top. But there's a lot of situations where, your ball runs 1 foot into the green side rough, and now you have to take this massive swing and you don't know how it's going to come out of there and all that stuff. Like, there's definitely a lot of randomness to the lies that you're getting. The other thing that I saw a lot of, especially in the afternoon, these putting surfaces I think they're on the verge of being like a little too much. So you've got them running at like a 15, which there's just no friction on them. You have undulation that would make Augusta National blush.
Yeah.
You are seeing guys hit now. I mean, it's like pouring there right now, so this might not be a problem on the weekend, but you are seeing the ball wobble, and you're seeing it not just necessarily go in directions that guys don't think it's going in, but in the opposite direction. And that is literally because they are so fast that there is not enough friction for the ball to grab onto the slope in the way that it would normally grab onto the slope. And balls are wobbling now, which is what Jon Rahm's complaint is that he hit all these perfect putts and none of them sniffs the cup because they're just, the greens are just doing whatever they want to do. That feels a touch unfair, but listen, it's US Open. Everybody's dealing with it.
Yeah. Hef Sterling in the chat, Joseph Boza, Jeff Stenberg, Seahawks fan. He says, I love Burns for an outright at this point. So we'll look at the odds in a few minutes. But again, I got to tout the early wedge betting show because we've been on an outright run, and you could have gotten Burns at a much better number than what you're going to see when we put it up on the screen in a couple of minutes. But yeah, Rick, real quick on Sam Burns, 5 under 67, that's probably not going to happen again. Maybe not for anybody. But with that in mind, what do you think of Sam Burns? Like, forget about the odds for a second. A golfer the caliber of Sam Burns, who's coming in pretty hot, no pun intended. What do you think the odds are that he can hold on to this thing, given that a lot of the guys, I mean, not Victor Hovland, there are some guys that are closer to him, but a lot of the guys that we feared to win this tournament either missed the cut, like Bryson, who we'll get to in a second, or are, at +4, +5, +6.
Very pleased with Sam Burns' chances of winning this golf tournament. So you mentioned it, the last 5 or 6 starts have all been getting progressively better for him. He's getting back to his DNA, which is that approach in the putting play. He's always been long enough off the tee. That doesn't come and go. So these are all very, very good things. The other thing that I like about Sam Burns is I had this tweet ready to fire up when he should have won in Canada last week, but he's got 5 wins since 2021, which if he gets to 6 wins, the list of guys who've won 6 times in 4 years is like, it's Scotty, Rory, Xander, and like Hideki or something like that. It's like very, very high end winners. So Sam Burns has been a closer. Now I know I'm saying that less than 7 days after he missed a 5'9" putt to win in a playoff in Canada, but he also shot the round of the day on Sunday to even get into that playoff. Yeah. So like, I'm very what I'm seeing from Sam Burns is very, very good and very encouraging.
Yeah. Speaking of tweets, you tweeted something out. Let's get to some of the bad rounds. We're talking about the Sam Burnses and some of the guys that at least held it together that are lingering in that +4 to +6 range. You tweeted something out, I don't know, an hour ago. And I can't remember the text of the tweet, but it was basically like, you can just correct me right away, but like 8 of the top 16 on the odds board, something like that, are now kind of erased from this tournament, if you will. Bryson, Ludwig, Patrick Cantlay, JT, Tommy Fleetwood, Joaquin Niemann, Shane Lowry, Sepp Straka. Maybe we could update that list now. Maybe there's an extra guy that fell off. But the long story short here, Rick, is that This is a lot of guys. Should we be surprised? I mean, part of me says, well, it's Oakmont, but the other part of me says, well, through 36 holes, many of these guys should have survived the test.
I'm just looking at this. That list that you just stated is still accurate, which is nice. So, awesome. Yeah, I'm surprised. Yes, I am. Yes, I understand it is Oakmont. It is a tough test, but in general, tough tests are good for the best players in the world. I thought that Bryson did not even sniff his D- game this week, right?
Yeah.
Like I thought it was pretty bad. Ludwig got off to a hot start and he struggled again. Joaquin Niemann, Tommy Fleetwood never sniffed the cut line. Sepp Straka, Shane Lowry never sniffed the cut line. Hideki Matsuyama, Rory McIlroy had to play well to finish their rounds to get in, or they would be on the wrong side of this.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a lot. And it's not like the other 8 guys are all in the top 10. There are 2 in the top 10, Victor Hovland and Brooks Koepka. So like,
right.
It's yes, I think this is more top guys played poorly than they should have.
I want to get to your take on Brooks Koepka in a second, but looking at that list, and we don't have to put it back up, Josh, thank you for having it up there. Which of those guys that missed the cut are you most surprised by? And which of those guys that missed the cut are you most disappointed in?
Probably most surprised by Bryson. I knew that there would be a large range of outcomes for Bryson this week. I knew that, but he looked pedestrian, and he has spent the better part of 2 years being a menace on golf courses everywhere, especially at major championships, especially at a one that sets up so nicely for him. So that to me was the biggest surprise. The disappointment is probably Ludwig. Maybe we heaped too much on him too soon. It has been such a weird year for him with the victory, the top 10 at the Masters, and now to go here, a place that should be perfect for him, to start with a couple of birdies early, to turn. I mean, his first 12 holes on Thursday were awesome. I don't know what we do with him moving forward. Right now, I'm more confused than ever. So those are probably the two ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, I think those are good answers. I look at this. Bryson probably would be the biggest surprise to me. By the way, Jeff Stenberg sporting my profile pick is just theater. Thank you for doing that. I get to look at myself even more, Jeff. I guess disappointing. I don't know. I mean, I'm not exactly like, I mean, a lot of these guys I'm not tremendously surprised by. I'll say for me, for my DFS lineups, I'm doing well right now, but I have Shane Lowry in a lot of my lineups. So that's not going to go super well.
That stinks. He just never really got it going. I don't know what the deal is there, but yeah, he's put up a couple of, I'm sure we talked about this at some point this week. It is, he has a really difficult time turning the tide and turning the momentum when things go bad.
Yeah.
And you see him do that when he starts getting out of it on a Saturday or Sunday, he's just out of it. He was so checked out. He literally picked up his golf ball without marking it today and took an extra penalty stroke. That is so on brand for what Shane Lowry does. Once he's out of it, it's over. It's just like he doesn't care anymore, which is a great way to live your life. Not great for like grinding and DFS purposes.
Yeah, that's so true. All right. I do want to talk about Brooks, a couple other golfers, and I want to look at the odds board. We're going to do that right after this message from our partners.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
All right, we're back on the Early Wedge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. And again, we'll look at the odds in just a second, but talk to me about Brooks Koepka, because I did say earlier when I was on CBS Sports Network with you and Joe that I thought he would fade throughout this tournament. Frankly, I kind of thought he'd have a worse round than he did today. Like, he's continuing to impress me is the point I'm trying to make. How sustainable, just looking at the first 2 rounds as it relates to Brooks Koepka specifically, how sustainable is this? Because if Brooks Koepka is back, like, he's got a very good shot to win this tournament.
Yeah, I don't think he's back. I'm at least not ready to say he's back yet. I thought, probably agreeing with you, that his first round was very much held up by sticks and air. I thought it was a little, fool's gold. I think he got a little bit lucky in some spots. What he did in the second round, I think, was a little bit more of what I was expecting. He putted really bad. The distance control on the putting surfaces was not very good. His short game was horrendous. 2 for 9 scrambling in the second round. That was tied for 125th. I like the way he's driving it. I think he's driving it to a point where he's giving himself some decent looks, but we are seeing, and this kind of happens here, right? Like he's been struggling this year everywhere, and he plays one round, one round really nice, fresh after talking with your coach and getting all the work in. But it's really hard. It's very easy during a tournament to fall back into old habits, I think is what you see from a lot of guys who are working through something. And I think as this tournament goes on, Brooks is going to get exposed. I hope I'm wrong, because it would be awesome if Brooks was involved in this championship at the end, but I don't like the direction we're headed in.
Speaking of troubling directions, I'm seeing Farzad in the chat saying that Justin Lauer is now 27 over par with 2 holes to play. Ouch. Go ahead.
He's not in last.
Well, yeah. But I mean, whoever the guy is in last, like, I mean, a lot of these guys, like, I'm not surprised that they're 19, 18 over. Like Justin Lauer, I'm like that. That's just like, you're just having a really bad day.
Rounds of 83, 84. Matt McCarty won in the fall. He shot 82.78. That's 20 over par. Listen, Shane Lowry was 17 over, 79.78. Like it's really easy to make a ton of bogeys out there.
Justin Rose, 14 over as I scan here. Nico Echeverria, I mean, not a big name, but has been doing some winning this year. 13 over par. Justin Thomas, 12 over par. Real quick on JT, I wonder, do we have this last place guy's card up? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, that's George Duangmani.
This is bad.
I think he plays at the University of Virginia or something like that.
I mean, these young guys, I'm willing to like give them a bit of a pass. JT didn't really profile well for this course, Rick, and I don't think a lot of people really bet on him. His name never came up all week. I don't think a lot of people played him in DFS unless they were just trying to be super contrarian. 12 over. It's the state of things for Justin Thomas.
He's got a mental problem at major championships. He's been very bad at majors since Southern Hills. I think he applies a lot of pressure to himself. He is going to really struggle on any place where accuracy helps, and also he's not long enough to overcome that, which is like the worst combination. So it ends up putting just a ton of stress on the rest of his game. He's a very poor putter. If it was a second shot and around the green contest, he'd win them all, but they're not. And he's got serious problems with the longest club and the shortest club in his bag. And I have little confidence outside of finding absolutely perfect golf courses for him.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it. All right, Josh, I'll tell you what, maybe this is a good time to check out the odds board, because Rick, I don't know if, I like these setups because there's so much room for me to consider a live outright that is kind of way down the board. With that said, I think it's also like when you're talking about Oakmont, it just makes it so unpredictable, because it could just be one, a couple of bad holes and a guy gets completely taken out of it. Let's scroll down a little bit. Are you surprised that Scotty Scheffler is plus 800 here?
No, I actually think that, but I might bet that tonight. I just like Scotty Scheffler he has been horrible. Mm-hmm. He is very much in it. And these guys are melting at the top of the board. The Scheffler at 8-1 and the John Rahm at 25-1.
Yeah.
Have my full on attention.
The Rahm at 25-1. So Rahm is what? He's at 5 over par, right, Rick? No, 4 over par.
4 over. Him and Scotty are number. Yeah.
Yeah, that is why is that such a big difference between Scotty and Rahm, though?
Well, I think that a couple of things. Scotty's the best player in the world. Yeah. And also, I assume, so we've got BetMGM up. I assume they have a ton of Scotty Scheffler liability that they are not letting get doubled down on, is my hunch here.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I agree with you on John Rahm and Scotty Scheffler. And by the way, if you watch the early wedge, and again, just make sure you subscribe to this channel. Early wedge is 3 to 4 days a week, and we do a betting show and a DFS show. So, Rick, my betting card was John Rahm without Scotty Scheffler at 9-1. It was Shane Lowry without Scotty Scheffler at 35-1. So that's gone. And then the next man down, outside of two long shots that are still in the tournament, I think, is Sam Burns in not the without Scotty Scheffler market, but the without Scotty, Rahm, Rory, and Bryson market.
Right.
So I could scoop here with Rahm coming back and winning, hit that one, and then hit Burns in the without the big 4 one. So that's kind of what I'm rooting for. I still think this 25 versus 8-1 is like kind of crazy in spite of what you said. Again, maybe a different book because they took on different liability has a different number. Are there any other names that are in this sort of reasonably priced market, like 30-1 or less, that you would have any interest in?
How far back, Josh, do we have to go to find Cam Young, which I know is almost comical at this point to think this guy's going to get it. Wow. Okay. That's basically what he was before the tournament. Sorry. He's 100-1.
That was one of my long shots, by the way. One of my 2 long shots.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to see what that was. No, I'll tell you what, very focused on Rahm, very focused on more Scheffler. Daniel Berger, he must have finished really bad today because he was knocking the cut. Okay. He made a quad on 3, which is, I'll tell you what. So there's this thing I like to do sometimes when it helps the narrative that I'm going for, Sia, where you do like Olympic style scoring. You throw out the guy's worst hole, you throw out his best hole. And, Daniel Berger, outside of 1 hole out of 35 really good holes, 1 bad hole, was profiling really well when I looked at it earlier. What are his? I don't know if I'm sorry, Josh. I know you just had it up, but I didn't see what his odds were to 100-1. I think I saw.
Wow. Yeah.
Like I think this thing is wide open. I do not. I think you are going to see a massive shakeup over the course of the weekend. Who knows what this rain is going to do? They're absolutely prepared for it. I think it might make the rough even worse. And if they're prepared for it on the greens, they double rolled and cut this morning. Like it might get really, really hard this weekend. There are still some pins out there that we have not seen yet that are going to destroy these guys.
I totally agree. Show me where Victor Perez is. And I'm not saying I'm going to want to bet this, but I don't want to have a regrettable moment. Rick, so my 2 long shots were Ryan Fox, just left the money on the table there, and Cameron Young. And by the way, that was in the without the big 4 market for both of them, I think. But I said that I liked Victor Perez at 170-1, also in the without market. This guy's close.
Yeah, he's hanging.
He's 1 over par. I mean, but like a guy like this, if we're just being real for a second, guys like this don't win this tournament right now. There's like, right?
No. I mean, when's the last like fluky US Open winner we've gotten?
4 rounds of Victor Perez out dueling literally everybody else. Most of the half the superstars within,
I mean, Wyndham, like Wyndham Clark was fluky, but he also had 1 signature event. So Bryson DeChambeau, Wyndham Clark, Matt Fitzpatrick, John Rahm, Bryson, Gary Woodland, Brooks, Dustin Spieth, Keimer, Rose, Webb Simpson. I mean, Keimer used to be #1 player in the world. Rory Graham McDowell, maybe 2010. I mean, you just don't fake it at this championship.
Any other names that have your interest, or anybody that impressed you enough today to at least like maybe look at a finishing position market? Were there any surprises for you today, or where your eyebrow was raised and you're like, they might not win, but like this guy is rolling?
So Hovland top 5 is plus 115. His ball striking is so good at these venues. I think a lot about Oak Hill, where he's able to separate too. I have worries, right? He might go out and lose 3 strokes putting again. He might get himself into a couple of awkward situations, but I don't think he's going to, he will grind over every hole. So for him to finish inside the top 5 at plus money as one of the better ball strikers, I think is a pretty good click on a Friday night.
Josh, do you mind coming in here? Because I know you gave out Hovland last night as a top 20 at plus money, but I am curious who you think is going to win this tournament and whether you think the Sam Burns tickets will hold.
I have no clue who's going to win this golf tournament. And
fair.
I promise I was going to hop in here at some point and and bring this up, that the byproduct of Scotty Scheffler winning everything is that when, and that's not me counting out Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler could absolutely win this golf tournament. But if he just is pedestrian again tomorrow, then we're probably at the point where he's not going to win the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll still have 18 holes left, where I mean, the short list of guys I have faith in right now on Friday of a major championship to actually close it out, those guys are Bryson and Rory. One of those guys missed the cut, and the other one is smashing team markers on the way to 2 birdies in his last 4 holes to make the cut. Like, it's should have been the happiest he's been all week, and he was smashing team markers instead. Anyways, but I've got no idea, because nobody, as a result of Scotty, very few have been in a position to win a major championship. And the ones that have aren't really towards the top of this board. It's fascinating. It really is.
Rick, I don't know if you have a response to that, but there was somebody in the chat. It was Stephen Dion. He says, Ben Griffin has me convinced at this point. He's the bet. I don't remember what that number was, but I feel like I'm doing a poor job of acknowledging. And by the way, Adam Scott, a guy we talked about on the DFS show, I believe, he's up there too. But like Ben Griffin, I mean, at plus 1,200, I can't imagine taking that number. But are we just like asleep on Ben Griffin? Like, this guy just continues to show.
No, we're not asleep. He's awesome. He is he's long off the tee. He does a very good job of keeping the ball in front of him. He is playing with some unreal confidence right now. You see that the chest is puffed out. There's nothing that phases him. Played well at Quail Hollow, where you thought, okay, if this is smoke and mirrors, now would be the time to find out. I don't think he's going to win the U.S. Open, but the dude's legit. Might play himself onto this Ryder Cup team. Might be a 1-win-a-year guy. I'm very much impressed and very much in on what the next 12 months looks like for Ben Griffin.
Did you guys see the shot he hit on 9? He was in the ditch left of 9, and hit it to like 12 feet.
It was like a
video baseball bat. Yes, I saw that. Isn't that crazy?
That he was hitting the
shot. Yes,
he leaves no stone unturned.
That's amazing. Anybody else to talk about before we get everybody out of here? I mean, I see some of the +3s that we haven't mentioned. Tyrrell Hatton shot even par today. He's +3. Jason Day, 3 under today. He's +3. Keegan Bradley is up here at +3. Nick Taylor, solid round of 1 over par. And then we get to the +4s, where like a lot of the attention is with John Rahm and Morikawa and Scheffler. I mean, like all the superstars feel like they're in that +4 range. Any other names, Josh, that you thought you're impressed by, or you think might go up the leaderboard over the next, I should say, 18 holes?
No, I kind of think that it's going to be somebody towards the top of the board is going to just piece it together and shoot even par 1 under. And that is effectively, I think, going to take a lot of guys out of it. Like, playing insane golf would be going 69 over the weekend, it feels like. And I just think somebody towards the top of this board, whether it's Victor or Burns, somebody I think is gonna do the thing over the weekend and kind of just knock a bunch of these guys that at the +4, +5 numbers that certainly are still alive right this second. But once you get one guy do it, it kind of plays a lot of guys out of it.
Lloyd Switzer says, how about Siwoo? Farzad says, best Korean. We do have that top Korean bet at +225, which we have Siwoo Kim. I wish I had an actual outright on him. I should have put that out there as well. What is this? What are we looking at here?
This is Ben Griffin on Wednesday or something, standing in the ditch left of 9, hitting a shot that he then hit. I don't know if he hit 3-wood with the actual shot today, but he actually practiced the shot.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Matt Gannon, who tweeted this out. All right, so let's end it here. Josh, I think you did you give us a winner? Like, we got to go. We got to give us like maybe 2 potential winners, each of us, and then we're out. Josh, you start.
I'll go Burns and Hovland. I think that's boring, but they're both. Burns is rolling the rock. Hovland's hitting the crap out of it. And at some point, that guy's going to win a major. Maybe it's this week.
Rick, I'm going to go next because I really hope it's Burns. This would be a really cool outright to hit. And especially coming off the Fox hit last week where it was Burns who was the one that basically opened the door to that one in a huge way, missing that 5-footer. I think this would be a really cool comeback story for him as well. At least, small sample size comeback 1 week to the next. Sam Burns, and I'm going to go to John Rahm, because I think his number's more fun, but I do think Scottie Scheffler is obviously better than John Rahm. They're at the same score, but I'm going to go John Rahm, Sam Burns. Rick, what do you say?
Well, I really hope it's Victor. But
yeah.
I would, if you let me go to battle tonight with a Scottie Scheffler ticket and a John Rahm ticket, I would be very happy going into the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, because this can go sideways for all. Josh, like you said, these guys at the top could you're right, 69, 70 could win it if you're at the top.
Adam Scott's
could go sideways.
Adam Scott's going to go 70, 70, 70, 70 and win this at even par.
Maybe.
Good.
How sick would that be?
It'd be perfect. It'd be the perfect Adam Scott US Open victory.
I have an absurd it's not a high stakes one, but I have an absurd DFS lineup with Adam Scott in it and Sam Burns and a couple of other people. It's got Bryson in it. I fell for the Bryson thing, and here we are.
Adam Scott's one of those guys that I feel like he just makes way more sense in golf history if he's got 2 majors instead of 1. That would be
yes.
He's just way better than really. I mean, he's only got 1. It's a Masters. I think that really helps because if it's not a Masters, then it's just really you and Jimmy Walker both have 1.
But so well put.
But that would be sick if he just played even par golf and then the USGA would change their logo to some silhouette of Adam Scott because they want par and he just shot par, even par 4 times and won there.
That would be sick.
That would be sick.
That's good stuff. Rick, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Enjoy it. It's going to be
stinking
nuts.
It's going to be great. Josh, any final thoughts?
No, I'm excited. 36 left.
This is good. As many big superstar names that have been sort of erased here. We've got so many superstars that are just lingering, and we know some of those are going to crawl up and contend with the Sam Burnses and the JJ Spahns, the Victor Hovlands, Adam Scotts, Ben Griffin. So very much looking forward to it. We're going to have a round recap tomorrow night. We're going to have a round recap Sunday night. A lot going on. And of course, the regularly scheduled programming next week on the Early Wedge. It's on this YouTube channel. Don't forget to check out the Early Edge as well every Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock in the morning. Make sure you're subscribed. On behalf of Josh, on behalf of Rick, and on behalf of the Early Wedge, we'll see you next time.